It's 10:20. Means it's 4:20 somewhere. If you got one, just walk up. Alrighty. Part 23 of the George Carlin audiobook, When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops? Got about 40 minutes left, so we'll probably break this down into 2 more parts. Let's get to it.
Here's a tip from the Power and Light Company on saving energy. If you have elderly people living with you, cut back on their heat and light. Old people often exaggerate how cold they feel. I was thinking the other day that one kid who's really going to have emotional problems when she grows up is that John Benet Ramsey. You know, because of all the media attention, her parents being under suspicion, the speculations about sexual abuse. Jesus, that kind of thing would fuck any kid up. And then I remembered, hey, she was the one who got killed. And I thought, it's a good thing she's dead. At least she won't have to suffer.
Jesus.
Tell Pierre I said hello. A 2-man conversation. I'm going up to San Francisco this weekend. Oh, well, tell Pierre I said hello. Actually, I knew you'd say that, so I took the liberty of calling him and telling him you said hello. He said in that case to tell you he also says hello. So, hello from Pierre. And he said to add, how's it going? Oh, well, that's great. Well, tell him everything's going just fine, and don't forget to say, how are you? Well, he and I knew you would ask that, and so Pierre has authorized me to say that he's glad you're fine, but that he hasn't been feeling too well lately. Oh, well, tell him I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope it isn't serious. He says he knew you would be sorry to hear that, but he thinks it will blow over. Well, tell him, if it doesn't, I have a great doctor in San Francisco. Ginny and I met him in Hawaii when we were there last year. Pierre says he knew you had a great doctor, but he wasn't aware he was located in San Francisco. He also says he didn't know you and Ginny had gone to Hawaii. He thought it was Cancun. And he also says, how's Ginny? Tell him Ginny is dead. Well, I'm sure he didn't know, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that he's real sorry to hear about that, and I'm willing to bet anything he offers his condolences. And most likely he'll also say that if there's anything he can do, anything, please don't hesitate to ask. Excuse me, Hank, I'd love to keep talking, but I have to go buy underwear. Oh, well, Pierre says there's a sale at the Gap. Get fucked, Hank. I don't know why people...
Where does this come from?
People got all excited about that guy Jeffrey Dahmer because he broke a few laws? So what? There's nothing wrong with killing 12 people, having sex with their corpses, masturbating on them, eating their flesh, and then saving the heads in the refrigerator. What's wrong with that? Nothing. So far, nobody has been able to explain to me what it was Jeffrey Dahmer did that was so wrong. First of all, let's remember, wrong is a relative term. Who's to say what's wrong? Who are we to judge? Put yourself in the other man's shoes. Who among you, under certain circumstances, might not kill 12 people, have sex with their corpses, masturbate on them, eat their flesh, and then save the heads in the refrigerator? Not one of you, I suspect, so cut the guy a little slack. Always remember, there but for the grace of God, go I. Here are some things you should not say if you encounter a comedian. First, if you're with another person at the time, don't say to your friend, you better watch out, he'll put you in one of his skits. We don't like that. It's not funny. And by the way, we don't do skits. Second, if you meet him while you're at your job, do not say, you ought to work here, you'd get a lot of material. It's not true. Just because you work with a bunch of simpletons doesn't mean it translates into comedy. Third, if you work at a store and we're shopping there, and some small mix-up occurs that needs to be sorted out, don't say to a coworker, he's going to put this in one of his routines. He's not. One more thing we don't like. When you tell us something that you think is funny, and then you say, you can use that if you want, we don't want to use it. Believe me. I stopped behind a small beat-up camper at a red light, and I noticed 3 bumper stickers. Dare to resist drugs and violence, there's no excuse for domestic abuse, and stop senior abuse. And I thought, I'm really glad I don't live with those folks. I'd bet anything they were on their way to the hospital emergency room, or perhaps
Wait 1 second, I gotta check something. Sorry, cat had suspicious behaviors going on.
intensive psychiatric counseling. If I'd caught up and looked inside their vehicle, I'm sure it would have resembled a Johnson & Johnson showroom. Tune in tonight for a full-length movie on America's favorite new date show, Dinner, Movie, and a Hump. Tonight, your hosts, Dagwood Parkhaven and Candace Nooch, cook up a delicious whale chowder and breast of hyena on a bed of diced badger as they present an award-winning film about an amnesia victim, Who the Fuck Am I? Starring Esther Sylvester, Kermit McDermott, Chi-Chi Amici, and Skeeter Van Meter, and introducing Keith Bunghole as the queer. After the movie and the food, Dagwood and Candace will tear off a lengthy piece of ass on the kitchen table, taking turns being on top and demonstrating several interesting new sexual positions, including the Baghdad twirl and the Bosnian dick knot. Some of our best work with euphemisms involves the subject that makes us the most uncomfortable: death. Our most common euphemism for death is to say the person passed away or passed on. If you believe in an afterlife, you may prefer crossed over or crossed over to the other side. Whenever I hear that someone has crossed over to the other side, I always picture Fifth Avenue. Then there's the official term for dying, the doctor term. In this case, the person simply expires, like a magazine subscription. 1 month, he just doesn't show up. Unfortunately, he can't renew. Or so they say. Better check with the Hindus on that. Now, continuing. In this current age of specialization and increasing detachment, if the person in question dies in a...
Sorry about that. Damn cat came across the keyboard.
The Hindus on that. Now, continuing. In this current age of specialization and increasing detachment, if the person in question dies in a hospital, it's called a terminal episode, although the insurance company sees it as negative patient care outcome. That one's actually kind of nice, isn't it? And if the negative patient care outcome was caused by a medical malpractice, then it's referred to as a therapeutic misadventure. Colorful term. No wonder so many doctors are leaving their practices. It's hard to get therapeutic misadventure insurance. But by far, the most creative terms we've come up with to comfort ourselves about death are the ones that describe the rituals survivors put themselves through. We owe a lot of this softened language to the funeral business, or as they prefer to be known now, the death care industry. They have completely transformed the language used to describe what happens following a death. In years past, it went like this. The old man died, so the undertaker picked up the body, brought it to the funeral home, and put it in a casket. People sent flowers and held a wake. After the funeral, they put the coffin in a hearse and drove it to the cemetery, where the dead man was buried in a grave. But in these days of heightened sensitivity, the same series of events produces what sounds like a completely different experience. The senior citizen passed away, so the funeral director claimed the remains of the decedent, took them to the memorial chapel, and placed them in a burial container. Grieving survivors sent floral tributes to be displayed in the slumber room, where the grief coordinator conducted the viewing. Following the memorial service, the funeral coach transported the departed to the Garden of Remembrance, where his human remains were interred in their final resting place. Huh? What's that? Did somebody die or something? This item demonstrates how stupid the average American is. Every 90 minutes, someone in this country is hit by a train. A train, okay? Trains are on tracks. They can't come and get you. They can't surprise you when you step off a curb. You have to go to them. Got that? There are 5,000 highway rail crossing accidents annually. To counter this problem, the Department of Transportation issued the following rules for people to follow at railroad crossings. Don't drive around lowered gates. Okay, got it. Don't cross in front of a train. Never thought of that. Don't walk on the tracks. Check. Be aware that trains can't stop quickly. Good to know. Always expect a train. This would probably be tied in with the fact that these are railroad tracks. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Look for more than one train. Frankly, this is one I never thought of. Maybe if I remember the others, this one will take care of itself.
So there was a video. It was a police car going to cross over some tracks, and one train had passed. So he went around and got clipped by another train coming the other way. He survived. You know, went for the ride of his fucking life though.
Here's something to think about. In the course of history's wars, many battles took place in the woods and the countryside. So sometimes I picture a soldier waking up on a spring morning, wildflowers growing around his tent, birds singing in the trees, perhaps the comforting sound of a brook trickling by in the near distance. And then a 10-pound cannonball hits him in the face. It's an interesting thought, don't you think? I wanted to be a Boy Scout, but I had all the wrong traits. Apparently, they were looking for kids who were trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Unfortunately, at that time I was devious, fickle, obstructive, hostile, rude, mean, defiant, glum, extravagant, cowardly, dirty, and sacrilegious. So I waited a few years and joined the Army. In New York State, the law says that the ingredients of hot dogs can legally include a certain amount or percentage of insect parts and rat droppings. It's permissible by law. So in New York, when you eat a hot dog,
the FDA actually there's an approved level of rat shit in baby food. And I'm sure plenty of other things. But I remember seeing an article about that not too long ago. Baby food. You know, there's a certain amount of rat shit that you're allowed to have in it. Just part of why the FDA's opinion means shit to me.
you more or less have to hope that the hot dog you're eating contains only the most nutritious parts of the insects, not just legs and antennae, and that the rats whose feces you're eating were on good, heart-healthy diets. I've been enjoying a new band from England. It's called So Long Mate. It's a 5-man heavy metal band, and the reason it's called So Long Mate is because at the end of each performance, the other 4 members of the band kill the lead singer. As a result, the music has a certain urgency to it. Also, it keeps the tours nice and short. It's basically one night, and then back they go to LA to hold auditions. The band plans to have an album ready in the year 2037. Hello, this is David Nipplegripper, another insufferable Hollywood movie star who wants you to help some cause or charity merely because I say so. Today, I want to tell you about little Danny Pendejo. Danny needs your help. He was born with no torso. His legs are fine, his arms are fine, and his head is okay, except for one really big caved-in part on top. But he has no torso. Won't you help by being a torso donor? Even a torso that's too big will be better than no torso at all. Thank you. This is David Nipplegripper reminding you to see my new movie, Breasts on the Moon.
It always blows my mind when seeing celebrities who have like, 6 or 7 mansions will get on TV and tell you to give them your money. If I could sell one of your houses, feed that country.
Another sign of America's decline. Because a few people are sensitive to peanuts and have allergies that might kill them, America's commercial airlines had to stop serving those little bags of peanuts. It wasn't sufficient that the affected people could simply refuse the peanuts when they were offered. The argument was made that the people who did eat the peanuts were putting peanut dust in the air, creating a health hazard for the victims. What a load of shit. If someone is in danger of dying from inhaling peanut dust, why aren't they dead already? Why didn't they die at a baseball game or at the circus? America has gone soft.
And now they want you to take medicine that only benefits you.
Instructions. Follow carefully. Release the handle by pulling down the strap and tightening the fasteners. Press the button and remove the safety cap. Then turn the knob to unleash the spring and wind the excess slack onto the spool. Loosen the screws on the plate lid and insert the tabs into the slots. Rotate the control switch a quarter of a turn before lowering the 2 levers. Then drop the main crank into a neutral position. Be careful not to unscrew the housing before engaging the catch. Plug in and you're set to go. If smoke fills the room, read the troubleshooting guide at the rear of this manual. I like the good actors, the real actors, the ones who keep their lives private. Sean Penn, Harvey Keitel, Alan Arkin, Robert Duvall, Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, Johnny Depp, Robert De Niro, Gary Oldman, William Hurt, Dustin Hoffman, Gene Hackman, Gary Sinise, Christopher Walken, Gary Busey. They keep to themselves. You don't see them appearing all the time on TV. They don't cooperate with Access Hollywood and Entertainment Tonight. They're actors, not celebrities. They keep to themselves. That's why their work is so good. Good for them. Dear Ma, even though you're dead, I wanted you to know I'm doing real well. No thanks to you, I might add. I now have my own TV show, and it's getting very high ratings. I play the part of a guy whose mother dies, but it doesn't really bother him. I know they don't have good reception where you are, so I'm going to send you a tape. Do you think a tape will be okay in the intense heat? Love, Dirk. I don't like ass kissers, flag wavers, or team players. I like people who buck the system, individualists. I often warn kids, somewhere along the way, someone is going to tell you there is no I in team. What you should tell them is, maybe not, but there is an I in independence, individuality, and integrity.
One of my favorite lines in the Bad News Bears, the newer version, when they said, "There's no I in team." One of the kids says, "But there is an M and an E." And one of the other little kids says, "But there should be an F and E." Them kids, yeah. But let's get back to it.
Avoid teams at all cost. Keep your circle small. Never join a group that has a name. If they say, "We're the so-and-sos," take a walk. And if somehow you must join, if it's unavoidable, such as a union or a trade association, go ahead and join, but don't participate. It will be your death. And if they tell you you're not a team player, just congratulate them on being so observant. You ever run over a guy with your car and you kind of panic, so you back up and you run over him a second time? And then you realize you have to get the fuck out of there before the police show up. So you put it in drive again and run over him a third time. What the fuck? Might as well. What else you gonna do at that point? Drive around them? Anyway, As you drive away, did you ever reflect on the fact that each time you ran over him, the crunching sound got fainter and fainter? That's because he already had two good deep grooves pressed into him that you kept driving through. Parents are such fucking doofuses. I saw a bumper sticker that said, "Proud parents of a sailor." What the fuck is so special about being a sailor? How about proud parents of a tailor? Isn't a tailor worthy too? The whole proud parent thing is bullshit. Pretty soon I'm expecting to see proud parents of a child. Have a little self-respect, will you? You never see children with bumper stickers that say proud son of Mr. and Mrs. Clayman. That's because Mr. and Mrs. Clayman are such fucking doofuses.
We will call it right there. That was part 23 of my series of When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops? George Carlin audiobook. I do have a playlist with all the other 22 parts. Feel free to check them out. I'm going to try and finish this one up probably either this week or next week. And then I got another multi-part series I'm going to do. It's a recent Eddie Griffin stand-up. So stay tuned for that after I finish this one. But thanks for watching. Y'all have a nice night. Stay blazing.